you're here with us and we're getting you conversations from this event that's been organized by Mumbai First, looking at the possibility of Mumbai turning into a world-class megacity. Well, what does a megacity need? Transportation, for starters. And we have with us Mike Brown, and of course he's the man responsible to keep London moving and going on time every time. Of course, the Managing Director of London Underground and London Rail. It's a pleasure to be talking to you, Mike. Thank you for the time this morning. Now, I don't know where to start the conversation because, yes, unfortunately, even as we speak, I am unable to take a metro in the city of Mumbai. It should happen in the next couple of weeks. The first line is on its way. But we are a little late in the game, aren't we?
Well, yes, but better late than never, I guess. And I think the fact that Mumbai is now investing in metro transportation is beginning to obviously tackle some of the great needs that a city the size and scale of Mumbai no doubt has. So I think it's a very exciting time for the city.
But now that Mumbai has started fairly late in the day, the problem comes when you are trying to construct this metro, many places overground, some places perhaps underground, in an already congested, densely populated city. So how feasible is this going to be, and what kind of challenges does this throw up?
Well, it does require challenges. I think it requires, first of all, the political will and the leadership that the city no doubt needs to just push through the planning consents to make sure that there is a focus to deliver these systems as they roll out. But, you know, from an engineering perspective, I think now everything is possible. So, you know, we built the extension to one of our underground lines a few years ago. It went directly under the Houses of Parliament, Westminster in London. Everybody said, gosh, this is a big risk to the foundations of one of the most iconic buildings in London. Yes. But we did it. It shifted about 1 millimetre in total over the entire project. Nothing, not a brick fell out of the walls. So, you know, I think you can do this even in some of the historic, important parts of Mumbai. You can build underground. I think it's just a matter of using the very best engineering techniques which are now available worldwide, and also, just as I say, having that leadership and focus on planning, because the end game, the result of this, if you look at the prize, is to get the mobility of the city up, and of course that means businesses will keep investing in the city.
Now, of course, the London train system works so well. I wonder, do you have any challenges at all? Do you encounter difficulties? What would they be?
Well, I do have difficulties because actually we're a very old system. London Underground is 150 years old this year. I have still got some old-fashioned signal cabins that were commissioned in 1926. That's nearly 100 years old, of course. Now these are being replaced over time. We're putting new automatic signalling systems in place, but at the moment parts of the central London, parts of the Underground are controlled by that sort of technology. So our challenge is to continue modernising the system. We've got to keep it running every day as we modernise it, and of course we've also got to invest in new lines and continue to grow the network as well, because as London keeps growing, so must its transport network.
So I want to come to that, how governance works when it comes to the London Underground, because one thing that's become very clear in this conference as well is that Mumbai's perhaps biggest problem is the multiplicity of agencies and egos and you know, coordination between all these entities. How easy or difficult is it for you to push through with new projects, new idea, new investment, upgradations, etc.? How does it work in London?
Well, we do have planning challenges, there's no doubt about that. Although I must say, I think one of the things that's changed London is having the position of mayor created in the year 2000. So we've only had 2 people who've occupied that post since then. They're directly elected by the population of London. The mayor also serves, quite interestingly, as the chairman of Transport for London. So that means that they sort of, as well as their statutory role as mayor, they have a very active role as the chair of Transport for London, of which London Underground forms a part. Now I think that's very important because...
So does that delay the decision-making process because everything needs to be routed through the mayor, or does it actually hasten it because the mayor directly takes interest?
Well, I think it does a bit of both depending on what the issue is, but I think the most important thing is it means there's somebody with the political will to drive through the transformation of the city. There's someone who has the interests, strategic interests of London at heart. And you know, one of the things that has defined both people who've been mayor in London is that actually, even if they haven't had statutory responsibility for some aspects of London life, they've grabbed it anyway because of the force of their personality and the force of their position. So I think grabbing that leadership and ensuring that all the various agencies work together, have their heads banged together, if you like, if there's problems, has been a real success story.
So what recommendations would you make for Mumbai when it comes to transport? No.
I think it's really about being ambitious. You know, set the mind for not just the next 10, 15, 20 years. Set the mind for 50 years, 100 years, 2 generations down the line. What does Mumbai want to be? What does it want to look like in terms of connectivity, in terms of the attraction that it will have for businesses who seek to make strategic decisions about where they're going to invest their worldwide headquarters? And I think if you can think about that and think about how the city should be and how transport will serve its part, play its part in the success of the city, that's the right approach to have.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, as and when the Mumbai train network does come up, the metro network, the challenge here is going to be a huge amount of population, you know, moving so many millions of people every day.
Yeah.
What examples or perhaps what lessons can Mumbai learn from the London network?
Well, again, it's about continuing to provide more service. So we're running 33 trains an hour on our busiest metro lines now in London. Actually, we'll be going up to 36 or even 40 trains every hour on some of our busiest lines in the next few years. So continuing to ensure signalling systems and rolling stock trains are capable of that sort of demand levels. The other thing we did quite interestingly in London during the Olympic Games was we actually managed the demand flows across the busiest times of the day. So we actually told people that their journeys would be easier if they travelled perhaps slightly before the rush hour in the morning or after the peak in the morning. And that had a huge effect during the Olympics. People did change their the first time in over 100 years, people actually listened to the advice they were given. Now, we're trying something now in normal operational times, obviously not during the Olympics, to see if we can do that in some of the most congested parts of our network. The early signs are quite positive. So I think if we can sort of get the population with us and to work with us for their own good, but also for the greater good of the population more broadly, that's some of the ideas that is worth pursuing as well.
Yeah, not just on the train. I'm just thinking of a sign on the road that tells me, don't go now, don't go left, take a right, because right is a free away.
Exactly.
It would help. A little help is
absolutely.
always good. Well, great talking to you, Mike. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.